y'all, welcome to this week's video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a YouTube made me buy it, and I'm going to put a little spin on it and say, is it worth the hype? So I'm going to pick a few products from each category, like skin, face, eyes, all that stuff. And I started watching YouTube videos when I was in the 7th grade. Obviously, me in the 7th grade, I'm very impressionable. And I'm gonna be honest, a majority of my makeup collection has been inspired or I've been influenced to buy it because of YouTube. I looked at another YouTuber, saw that they loved it so much, and I put it in my cart. And I followed YouTubers like Bethany Moda. That's the only big one I remember. I followed a girl named Maybaby, Nikki and Gabby, Alicia Marie. I followed a lot of non-black YouTubers. So a lot of the products they recommended were for young women of their skin complexion. So I ended up buying a lot of makeup that wasn't meant for me and my skin tone. And it wasn't until recently that I started following a lot of more women of color on YouTube, like Vicky Logan or Jackie Aina. And they honestly have influenced me to buy so much more stuff and things that I know will fit my skin color. So today, basically, I'm just going to tell you all the things that I bought over the years and whether I still use them or not to this day. So I'm just going to start in order of how I would apply them on my face, and so let's just get started with this video. First product that YouTube made me buy is the Badescu Rose Water Spray, and honestly, I do believe that this is worth the hype. I paid, I think, $7 to $12 for this bottle, I believe. I'll put the exact price right here. Basically, it's just rose water, and it's supposed to moisturize and nourish your skin before you put on makeup. It's a little breath of fresh air before I put on any makeup. And I also use this before I put my makeup on, after I do my foundation and all of that, and then once I have my whole face beat, I put this on again, and it just basically takes away all the cakiness and all the powdery look of your makeup. So honestly, I love this, and once it runs out, I will definitely buy another one. The next thing that YouTube made me buy is the Maybelline Baby Skin, and if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been using this, not this exact bottle, but this for some time. When I first bought it, I didn't really know what primer was, and I used this on my eyes, as an eyelid primer instead of an actual face primer. But now I actually know how to use makeup. I use this on my nose and on my tops of my cheeks, and I really love this so much. All I know is this is an amazing primer, and is it worth the hype? Yes. So the next product that I'm going to be talking about is concealers, and I have 3 different concealers that YouTube made me buy. The first one is the Maybelline Fit Me, and this was compared to the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. And at the time when I first bought my first one of this is my second one, I believe. When I bought my first one, I wasn't trying to buy a $30 concealer, and this was I'm not sure, $6, $7 for this, and I was I'll definitely go buy this one. And once I used it, I fell in love with it. This is my first concealer ever. Not this exact bottle, but this concealer was my very first one, and I love it so much. I'm in the color 30 Cafe, and I love it a lot because of how lightweight it is, but it covers up so much. Honestly, I don't have really bad skin. I have pretty good skin. I don't break out a lot. I'm not super oily, but I do have dry skin, and this doesn't cling to my dry patches. I put it underneath my eyes. I put it anywhere else that I want to highlight, and honestly, it's really good, and I'd recommend this to anyone, and I honestly do believe it's worth the hype. The next concealer that I have, I love so much so that I have 4 different shades, and it is the LA Girl Pro Concealer, and this would not be a YouTube made me buy it without these, because these are the one concealer that I've seen all over YouTube, and they're so inexpensive for how good they work. I actually use the color Toffee underneath my brows to clean them up, and then I use the color Toast on top of my brows so they can blend into my foundation. This is a contour shade, and this is in the color Mahogany, but I also use dark cocoa to actually contour my face, and then this is just an orange corrector that I use to cover up my dark circles. I believe that these are worth the hype 100% because they're such a cheap, not cheap in quality, but cheap in price. They're so inexpensive and they work very nicely, and they are super full coverage as well. And I think a lot of you guys know what's next as the next concealer, and it is the Tarte Shape Tape. And YouTube definitely put this in my cart and made me buy it. But I'm so glad that YouTube did, because this is honestly one of my favorite concealers, and I use this on an everyday basis. I've talked about this in my May favorites video, so if you want to check that out, it'll be like linked right there. But I'm in the color Deep, and I use this just to conceal and underneath my eyes. But I love this concealer so much, and I obviously been saying I love. I've been throwing it around, but like I really do like this concealer a lot. It's very full coverage, and as I said in my May favorites video, you don't need a lot of it because a little does go a long way. I have a very light hand when using this concealer, because if you do put too much, you will be cakey, and you don't want a cake face. So is it worth the hype? 100%. Now I'm going to be talking about palettes. So eyeshadow palette, and honestly, eyeshadow and eyebrows are like my favorite makeup, or like favorite part of my makeup. I have 4 palettes here, and it is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, the Urban Decay Naked palette, and the Morphe 35O palette. So I'm just going to talk about these real quick individually, one by one, like super quick. So my first ever high-end product, like ever, was the Urban Decay Naked palette. This is what it looks like. So it's a very warm tone palette, and if you know me, you know I love warm tone shadows. I do not like cool tone shadows. I just feel like they don't complement my skin tone very well. You can obviously see the colors that I made a dent in, and it's Toasted, Buck, and Sin. And those are the colors that I use like every single day. Whenever I did my makeup, those are the colors that I use. And those are the colors that obviously have a dent in them. I honestly don't use it as much as I did, because I like obviously have new palettes and other palettes that I use and love a lot more than this one. But I do believe that this is a beautiful beginner's palette, and it is definitely worth the hype 100%. And I would not have changed buying this at all, because I do love it, and I do reach for it sometimes, but only for like 1 or 2 shades. But for the most part, it's worth the hype, and I love this palette. So right after I bought that palette, I bought the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, and this one was like another OG of YouTube, and it looks like this, and it's another warm tone palette. And one of my most recent makeup looks actually featured this palette, so that will also be linked right here, and it'll be linked in the description bar. This, it smells like chocolate, and like every freaking YouTuber everywhere smells it. So it smells like chocolate, because it does. It's just a really good beginner's palette. It's a really good warm, neutral palette. So if you're not sure on how to do makeup yet, I would 100% recommend either this one or the Naked palette. More so the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, because of the fact that it has a way more mattes. It has 7 mattes in here compared to the Naked palette, which has 2. So I recommend this one, and obviously I do believe it's worth the hype. It's so good. So the next palette that I got is the Morphe 35O, and this was like sold out for like 5 freaking years. But I 100% understand why, because this is an amazing palette, and the camera is not picking up like its amazingness. But basically, it is a 35 palette shadow, like 35 shadow palette, and it's just warm tone heaven. Like this whole row, literally like this whole row, I use this whole thing, and like I just use this whole palette. Is it worth the hype? Obviously, I'm raving about it. Yes, it's worth the hype. I love this so much. It's literally my baby. And I have another Morphe palette. I have the 35F as well. And honestly, I love it so much. It's like these shadows are so creamy and so pigmented, and it's only like $22. And like, let me show you. Like, these are 2 shimmer shades, and this is what they look like. you can obviously see that I love this palette, but the only thing I don't like about Morphe and Morphe Palettes is that there's no mirror, because if there was a mirror, this palette would be so bomb. A big mirror like this, like this whole thing was a mirror, no one could tell Morphe anything. And I would recommend they work on their matte colors because they can be a little bit chalky, but who am I to complain? This is like $20 something, so it's an amazing palette. And it's not very travel friendly, to be honest, but it is very thin. It's just a little wide. So, and many of you guys know, but the Anasazi Beverly Hills palette, and I love it so much. As you can tell, it's another warm tone palette, because I love warm tones, and I actually use it to do my eyeshadow today. So I use this palette pretty much every day whenever I do my eyeshadow, because it's so easy and it's so like me. Like if I was a palette, I would want to be the Anastasia Renaissance palette, because it's just so good. The only like problem I have with it is the packaging, how it gets like super dirty. Like obviously I knew that this wasn't going to be kept super pink for long, but it would have been nice if it was like not like suede material, because that just gets super dirty. And obviously when you're doing your makeup, you're going to have like foundation on your hands, you're gonna have like eyeshadows on your hands. So if you're picking up a palette that's like easy to get dirty, it kind of sucks. Next thing that YouTube made me buy is the Anasazi Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. And when this came out, I was so happy, because this was finally a glow kit that catered to my skin tone. This color right here, I use that all the time. So this is bronze. That's what it looks like. You got tourmaline. And then you got summer and moonstone. So these are like 4 beautiful highlight shades. That's what they look like. I also like how they're able to be taken. I almost dropped it. Oh my god. I'm so happy that you're able to take it out, and it has like the name on the back as well. And you're able to, if you like hit pan on them and you want to replace them, you can. You don't have to buy a whole nother palette just because you like one shade. I think that these highlighters are like worth the hype as well, because this whole thing is $40. So that's like about $10 a highlighter, but you're never really going to get through this whole thing. Like look at how much product you get. You're never gonna really get through all of this. And if you have as much like highlighters as I do, you're not even gonna get through one full highlighter. So $40 for this was like easy for me to like spend, because it was 100% worth all $4. Next thing that YouTube made me buy is the Coty Air Spun powder, and everyone was talking about how this is like a dupe for the Laura Mercier, and I really was not trying to drop $38 for some powder. No, I wasn't trying to do all of that. You do have to be kind of careful when you do use it, because it can make you look very like white and very like white casty. So if you use it, I recommend using like a beauty blender or a sponge to apply it, and don't use like a brush. And if you use your beauty blender, like blow your beauty blender before you apply it to your face so you get some even coverage. This is really good. It was like $8, and this is like a quarter of the price of like a Laura Mercier powder, and it's good. The next thing that YouTube made me buy, and these are one of my first ever high-end like lipstick, and these are like the MAC lipsticks. So I have Velvet Teddy and Antique Velvet. So this one is Antique Velvet, and this one is Velvet Teddy. And Velvet Teddy I bought because all of the YouTubers that I watched in like 7th grade, they were all raving about Velvet Teddy and how it was like the perfect nudie muted brown. On me, it's not that. I have to wear a brown liner before I could put on Velvet Teddy and make it look decent. MAC lipsticks are really good. I love them because they're very moisturizing and they don't dry down completely matte. But the only thing about them is that they're not transfer proof. ColourPop, however, is transfer proof. So that's why I also like ColourPop as well. MAC it's more of like a satin. Okay, it says it's a matte finish, but it's not really matte because ColourPop is like matte, like it's matte. These are considered to be matte, but they're not 100% matte because they do still have like a sort of like a sheen to them. I believe that these are worth the hype. Yes, I love MAC lipsticks. I'm probably not going to be buying a ton more, maybe because I don't like the color section that they have. Personally, I just don't find a lot of colors that I like that much. So thank you guys so much for watching. I made it to the end of this video. So if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video, go ahead and subscribe down below. And if you really like this video, you can follow me on all my social media. The links to that will be in the description bar. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next week.
But if it's anybody next up, it's you.